Hi, my name is Teacher Caroline, and this is Quick Tips for VIPKid. Today I'm going to talk about how to prep for a VIPKid class. I'll give you 6 steps to quickly and easily prep for class. Before I get started, I have to mention a great metaphor about learning new tasks from my favorite guru, Martha Beck. She says that learning a new task is a lot like learning to crack an egg. When you first learn to do it, you have to think about each step carefully. You grab the egg, you hit it against the bowl, not too light, not too hard. You open the egg, on and on. But by the time you have experience cracking an egg, all you have to think about is crack an egg. I know that's a little bit of a strange metaphor, but when you're first prepping for class, it feels laborious and difficult because each step is new to you. But I'm currently on my 6th contract, and I can honestly say that prepping for class feels like cracking an egg. It's just a quick, fluid thing that takes me about 3 to 4 minutes per class. I fill out this form prior to every single class. The top portion with the lines is the part I fill out before class, and the boxes I fill out during class. So today I'll talk about what I write on those lines and the types of things I think about prior to teaching class. I hope it's helpful for you. Let's get started. The first thing you want to consider when prepping for class is your student. You want to know your student's name, of course. You want to know their age, double check if it's their birthday the day you'll be teaching them. The NR on my form stands for new or returning student. You also want to be sure to check that teacher-to-teacher feedback. In my opinion, it's extremely helpful if I haven't taught the student before. It helps me gauge what their behavior may be like. Teacher-to-teacher feedback can also give you a really good idea about the level of your student compared to the class that they're in. Will you need to have lots of extension ideas, or will you need to help your student along? Are they struggling a little bit? If this is a regular student, I still check teacher-to-teacher feedback because sometimes my students kind of ping-pong between a teacher or 2 or 3, and I like to see how my student's doing with the other teacher, the types of things that they're struggling with right now. The second thing you want to consider when you're prepping for class is which lesson specifically you're teaching. Most units have 12 lessons. The 6th and the 12th are assessments. Even though your student may have prepared with all the materials they were supposed to prepare with, speaking to a native English speaker live is a whole different ballgame. So in those first few lessons, they are learning so many new words. They're learning the whole concept of what you'll be talking about for the very first time. So be patient with them in lessons 1, 2, 3, and 4. By 5, I feel like they gain some confidence. 6, you assess them, and they gain a lot of confidence when they see how well they're doing. And then in those upper levels, 6 to 12, you don't have to hold their hand quite as much through the material. This is just a broad generalization. I know VIPKid carefully makes sure that we do teach things throughout the entire unit. Pay special attention in the slides. When you read the description for the teacher, it often tells you this is review material or this is new content. If it's new content, the student may have never ever practiced it before. Don't treat it as though they should already know. The third part of prepping for class is kind of the big part that we all think about, and that's to review the slides. This is the time where you look at every single slide, you gather the props that will be helpful to teach the lesson. You definitely read the teacher tips underneath the slides. I love these. I've gotten some of my best tips and tricks for teaching here. If you encounter a difficult slide, chances are a teacher has given you some helpful hints for how to get through it. As you review through the slides, you're kind of thinking in the back of your mind, how can I scale this up or push this along faster if I need to? Each slide is an opportunity to go quicker or slower, however you need to fill the time. While I'm reviewing the slides, I like to write notes about anything that might trip me up during class. This is where I write the melody of the songs. I have been stuck singing songs that I could not for the life of me remember the tune of. It's so embarrassing. Even though it's in the teacher notes, I'll write anyway. The opening song is to the tune of Mary Had a Little Lamb. I also want to write down any props that I need to gather that I used for a previous class that day. The 4th step for preparing for class is to choose a great reward. I use Google Slides now for probably 90% of my classes. I tend to follow teacher Justin's advice in one of the workshops he taught. He said that a student's reward should require them to either say something, do something, or choose something. That tends to work the best for me to get the student involved in class. The 5th step for preparing for class for me is to make sure I have some specific idea for what to do if I finish early. In my early days, when I finished early, oh my gosh, it just stressed me out so much I did not know what to do. So from then on, I made sure to always have a plan for what to do with that extra time. Right by my computer screen here, I have a sticky note with ideas for fast finishers. But in addition to the sticky note, I also have a plan for what to do if I finish early with almost every student. Unless I really know the student well and and I know that we will use the full time just for the normal slides. And finally, the sixth step for prepping to class is to plan out your timing. In this spot, I write what the last slide number is, as well as what we do on that slide. Is it a song? Is it free talk? Is it just more practice? That allows me to think about how much I can extend that slide or not. For any class that does not follow the typical 1 minute per slide timing, I write down a plan for how to get through all the slides. So I write down 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 to represent the minutes. I divide all the slides by 5, and then I write roughly what slide number we should be on at each timestamp. A lot of times I get through class and I never even checked that because it just flowed easily. But if I get a little panicked that the student is really fast or really slow, I can glance down and make sure that I'm staying on schedule. Those are the 6 steps that I follow for prepping class. The one thing about preparing for class that I did not talk about is kind of the lifestyle things that you do to prepare for class. So the night before, I make sure I prepare 3 things. The first one is I set out my clothes. Maybe that makes me a nerd. I don't know. I also set out my breakfast. Okay, I'm definitely a nerd. And then the third thing I do, not as nerdy, is I get all my technology ready because I have had too many times when I'm trying to load everything, oh my gosh, and class is coming and things are just loading slower that day. So I've learned to get them ready the night before. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. If this video was helpful for you, I really appreciate a comment below so I know I can create more content like this and someone out there would like to see it. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. That's the best way to support anyone on YouTube who you think is doing a pretty good job. Have a great week teaching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.